Hey, peace. What's up? So, I hope I didn't steal this idea from anyone on some real. But what I was gonna say, just real quick, just to relate on it, is that disagreeable people. A lot of times these people, they'll grow on you, or you'll like them all the time. You could love them and still just just to relate on it, in a cool sense. Sometimes it can get really funny and stereotypical with politics and things like that. How people like that will tend to be either strong Republicans or strong Democrats and things like that. But let's talk about when you get around them, when they get into your car, when you end up around them, and if you invite them over. There's some telltale signs we could just relate on for a second. You might know what I'm gonna say, but something you're into, let's say you play a hip hop song, you play a rap song. Usually, the more hardcore it is, the more if you happen to like the beats or the flows, or you're into it for just no reason, they might think oh my gosh, you think you are this, and you think you equate to the lyrics in this song. You think you are the same as this artist, and sometimes that'll be their opinion. So it can be very elephant like to just play a loud hip hop song. Rock, it's kind of funny because rock doesn't matter as much. It's more I don't know. But for some reason, especially I'll say G hip hop or gangster rap and stuff like that. A lot of times, and then sometimes people like that will have a problem with artists. A lot of times they'll say oh, this artist is a snitch. Whatever the first thing is, the mistake they've made in publicity, that'll be the reason why they think, oh, this person's potentially a double standard or something. Hang on one second. If you are to, they might not have a problem with you being vegetarian. Let's say you're vegetarian, they might not have a problem with that as much. It's usually these certain things that I notice is kind of a consistency if you get around them. If you're let's say you pull up next to someone and just blaring hip hop, that's a random telltale sign, as people think, oh my gosh, you think you get to listen to this, you don't get to listen to this in our mind, and so I think usually it doesn't matter as much what someone listens to. There's been plenty of times where it's stereotypical in my mind, but someone's listening to something and it's just I can see it, I get it, I can see it, I get it. You listen to, maybe it's very stereotypical, a girl listens to a song and it's all vocals. When I more beats and stuff, I like flows and beats is what I'm after, a little bit of bass, some beats, some flows, and a little bit of that creativity of the conscious community, just not too far where it gets forbidden, and that kind of stuff. Certain conspiracies, if you happen to be into them at all, or you dabble with them, sometimes they'll just give you the normal thought form on that, no. I guess I don't interact and have not designed my life around people like this as much. But I was just trying to relate on the common sense that they'll find the way, they will disagree. That's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to be empathetic on a YouTube room or whatever you want to call it, that just certain people, like, their opinion on something illegal, like some drug or something, like, oh yeah, people shouldn't do it, like it's bad. There's never that contrast or like opposite view of like both sides where it's like, well, people are, depressed. It makes sense when someone gets into cocaine or something. Like, it makes sense. We can see it. Maybe the government should just at least put some like open-minded kind of like research into like if it should be a thing or if it shouldn't, or instead of just like this random thought form that just it's all just not okay. Like, it's just nope, nope, nope. Like, or like alcohol for certain people, or yeah, just different stuff. They'll find the way to disagree with whatever is different than their beliefs. So it's kind of like something you cannot teach, so we're purely probably relating on this, unless you disagree, and it's okay if you disagree. That's kind of like the essence of the point, is like, you'll go in with some just like talk and try to chat up, but then the second it gets like informational, or you expose like info, you expose like info to them as to what you're into and things, like usually they'll find that way to just disagree, and it just gets like, so there's like nothing else to say with stuff like that. It's just, I still love people and stuff. It's just funny how like, I don't know, like even me, what's my opinion on Trump and the lady, I forgot her name actually. I wasn't really, believe it or not, I don't pay total attention all the time for a reason. But I think that lady seems bright, actually. I think she seems very bright. She seems like she's got good points. She's bright, and she's trying to think of like a utopia kind of deal or something like along those lines, like potentially, something like that. And it seems like cool to me. Hang on. And I'm not against that historical cool idea of like just the idea that like a female could empower themselves. I'm not against that. So like the fact that she would choose a lot of different things as far as, let's say, business with America, the States. I don't disagree with like that ideology of like a woman president. That's awesome. So, but like, what's my opinion? I don't really know. Like, I didn't vote because I didn't want to stand in line. I didn't, literally that day when it was like came time, where I had a chance to vote, I was like, I don't know. It just seemed all like I just caught that vibe again, like just something like stern and kind of hogwash. Like, let me just go. I don't know. I just felt like I would be depressed that day coming back from voting for some reason, just something about it. So like, so I guess on a formal note, I professionally apologize that I didn't vote, but like, do you want to hit this and all that stuff? Like I don't know, just something, like a joke or something, hang on. Something like that, like a smoke trick. Maybe you do like smoke tricks, or like you're like, blowing circles or something, anything like that. Disagreeable people, like random stuff that's like kind of edgy, again, like kind of edged out against the rules. They might think like, oh my gosh, like flat out, you think you're so cool, like, and there can be so many things like that, like you think you're so cool. And that tends to be like half of the message is you think you are so cool for all the things you do. Like, they'll find that way to disagree with you on like any opinion. It's funny. I was just trying to relate on it, because what else, like, how do I can't install into a video, I cannot install and like fix it, because they would, if no matter how much they hear, they would not like, they wouldn't, even if they listen well, they'll just have some way of being like, well, you know, and like, but still, we both know like it's gonna be like the same opinion. If you smoke weed, then you obviously like, oh my gosh, like you think you're so cool for smoking weed, or depending on whether or not they think like this type of person should have their hands on weed or something like that. But like, so maybe they think like certain celebrities like that's okay, that's fine, or who knows. I don't know exactly how they think. But I guess as well, the main thing the only thing I really disagree with is like the depression kind of stuff you get from like separation anxiety from them. Like, they tend to segregate things more often. If you go up to them and say like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, could I get like a $1.20? I came up here and I knew I didn't have any money and I just walked 2 miles hoping that someone would actually pay for my coffee for me. Could I have like a $1.25 for a coffee?" Someone very disagreeable might just be like, "No, like I could afford that even to help you, but just to prove the point, like no, because I earned that or something, like why would I? I don't, So there's like certain things you can find exactly what disagreeable people will find the way to disagree on consistently. Like, um, you might have some image of yourself, and they probably like that you're like a certain vibe or something, and if they get like the whole concept, the whole feeling of what you're trying to do there, as far as like your right brain, just an imagination flex or an intuition flex, they might just think like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, like you are not this image. What you are is according to like what the next closest thing that like maybe is regulated or governmentally run is what you are. You're like a citizen who gets to like vote and stuff. Like you're not this pop star image you try to portray. We can kind of see what you're doing, but we're not feeling that groove. Like it's just, yeah. So yeah, just kind of find that way. So just to relate on it, it's funny. Disagreeable people will like, even if like, or like if they see that like you and someone like are kind of cool, their opinion is that like you don't know each other. When you don't, it's not an issue of whether or not you know each other. You just kind of are two flowing spirits, and you kind of know of each other. And so they'll have like this strong opinion, like you don't know them. No, but and it'll just be like this stern thing until you submit to that and find out and dive deeper into something they find interesting. Their opinion verbally will be like, just, hey, you might like kind of be around, or like if you don't like fully show them like, hey, I'm around this person, I'm around them, then their opinion will always be like, you don't know them. And it's like not even an issue, is your point, is it's not even an issue of if you know them or not. It doesn't matter, is all you're worried about, is it doesn't matter what they're doing. And like what you're concerned about in that situation is that the disagreeable person is like creating a negative circumstance or a negative vibe around, and a negative thought formation around how like you don't know anyone, you don't know them. And it's like, it doesn't, I don't care. That's all I was saying, is I don't care that I don't know them. It doesn't mean that like that gets into like how they'll view the governmental system of like popularity within high school, that like a high school, and who is like, okay, so okay, so who's popular, like let's get that straight, who's popular. And if you like have something, like they'll be there to make sure in like some type of thought form type of way, or verbally, and just as a like a rock in a creek, like they'll just be like, no, but no, you don't get it, like you don't know them. And it's like I may have talked to them, and they'll deny that too, just to, they'll be like sort of positive, but they'll still deny the fact that you even like talk to them. So if you accidentally stumble upon like bringing it up, how like it's like, no, really, I was talking to so and so, and then they'll be like, no, 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 like you don't know them. They'll just state that. They'll just state that. Like, you know, disagreeable people will find the way. It's actually hilarious. Like, I try to maintain the positivity, but like stuff like that. What's one more thing? I don't think there's anything exposed in my room, but so if I watch this, what would be your opinion? Probably what? You don't do that. Like, you don't, like, why do you watch that? You don't do that stuff. You don't actually do it though. Like, but you're not a part of the movement. And so I might have something like, especially I say something like, I used to kind of spar or something. Well, that doesn't matter. That's just sparring. You don't actually fight or something like that. Like, it's just, like you're gonna find little stuff off to the side that's like this gateway into like something they would say consistently as disagreeable people, or what I would call disagreeable people. You know what I mean? Like, it's hilarious. So like, and then so it can get really. I just like to make the fun of it because it can get really funny. You know. You'd be like well informed if they'll have that stance like I'm away from you, but if we do come in contact, I will go ahead and express my opinion just to be decent, and I guess I agree with that, but like, oh, you know, like Trump or something, like Bud Light. If you drink like Bud Light or Bud Light, you drink Bud Light, oh my gosh, like you might as well drink Miller or like Coors or something, because if you drink Bud Light, it's like the blue can, and like, so that's like the funny side of it, or what would be a funny moment in time, because that's okay or whatever. Like, I'm joking, so like little jokes could be like sternly viewed as an organized. It's really what it is. Organized as in like regulated and government run, So, all kinds of jokes like that you could make about like joking memes of like that you're this cocky guy because it happens to be funny, like as if I was saying that I'm that good, and it's like hilarious for no reason. But if you take like, so like some comment online like, I have this or something that you don't have, will be like literally informed for they'll kind of catch the vibe and get it, but they'll still just have this. They have to let you know, like, no, you don't have that. Like, you don't know, you literally don't have that. And then there's this like whole reality where if you somehow have it, then like who knows what would happen, like doesn't. I don't know. All right.